Well, that game sure wasn't boring now, was it? That's what we call, folks, a rhetorical question. The Montreal Canadiens defeat the Anaheim Ducks 5-0. The Anaheim Ducks only register 13 shots on net against the Montreal Canadiens and put up a very, very abysmal performance at the Bell Center last night, where the Canadiens came off a very abysmal performance on Sunday afternoon on Super Bowl Sunday against the St. Louis Blues, where they lost 7-2. And it was a day where I couldn't put a video out. So it was perfect, actually, in that sense. Didn't have to talk about that game. But the Montreal Canadiens come out with a pretty outstanding performance against a very, very downtrodden Anaheim Ducks team. Was that Trevor Zegras up there? Trevor Zegras looking down. No, he wasn't in Montreal, I don't think, because the cameras would have been right on him, because a lot of Trevor Zegras trade talk surrounding the Montreal Canadiens lately, but he was not in the building, ladies and gentlemen. He was not there, and Anaheim could have really used him. In this game with the Montreal Canadiens, Juraj Slafkovsky with a goal and two beautiful, beautiful assists to Nick Suzuki. Nick Suzuki, 2 goals, 1 assist. And for his first career NHL goal, Brandon Gignac, as Nick Suzuki has nicknamed him. Was it Ginny? Ginny, actually. Ginny. All right. Well, Gignac, I had to get that pronunciation proper, and I did, and you guys noticed. I know you did. I know you did. Some other stats that are noteworthy in this game: Caden Primeau getting his first career NHL shutout in the easiest NHL game he will ever play. I can tell you right now. Mark it down. That's an easy one to point out. Caden Primeau's not going to have an easier night in the NHL. 13 shots on goal in 3 periods in 60 minutes of play. Just abysmal, again, for the Anaheim Ducks. And for the first time in his NHL career, Jake Evans gets the game-winning goal for the Montreal Canadiens. So good for Jake on a great play, a great feed from Tanner Pearson, Josh Anderson to open the scoring in this game against the Ducks of Anaheim in their 30th season since the Mighty Ducks came out. Actually, D2 and the Arrowhead Pond was first born, and that series launched, and we all loved it and still love it. But, you know, this game was just fun because, again, coming off of a performance which was lackluster and just very discouraging in a sense, but it was good for the tank if you want to look at it that way. But the Canadiens, in terms of the standings, didn't gain a lot of ground. They've still got Buffalo nipping at their heels. They've got Columbus coming up. They've got Ottawa right behind them. And in fact, I'm going to pull up the standings really quick before we continue on talking about this game here. But basically, where the Canadiens are sitting right now, 25th in the NHL, it's actually Arizona that's nipping at their heels. So they're 2 points behind the Montreal Canadiens with 50 to the Canadiens 52. Ottawa's got 46 just behind them, and then it's actually Columbus that has 42, 10 points behind the Canadiens. So, in my opinion, the Canadiens shouldn't, in my opinion, finish better than 28th at the end of this season, which puts them in a position to potentially draft in the top 5 again, which would be great. So, in terms of just an overall, positive note from this game here, of course, the Canadiens' top line, SLAF-ZUKI, produces 7 points in this game. SLAF-ZUKI, however you want to call it. We got to get Cole in there because he actually got an assist on one of the Slafkovsky Suzuki goals. So good for the boys for producing 2 power play goals in this game, 2 for 6 on the season. And Lane Hutson isn't even here yet, ladies and gentlemen, but he's going to be here soon, quarterbacking that power play. Even if Mike Matheson's still here, that's completely fine. Can you imagine a Montreal Canadiens power play of Mike Matheson on the first unit and Lane Hutson on the second unit? You're welcome. That's the first time you thought about it, didn't you? Well, it's going to happen this season. It's going to happen this season. I'm getting excited. I don't care. But you know what? It was a fun game to watch. There were 3 fights in this game. Arbor Jacki, Jonathan Kovacevic, and Caden Gooley all dropping the gloves in this contest. And I love to see Caden Gooley's heart at the end of this game, dropping the gloves the way that he did. Jonathan Kovacevic took exception to a hit on Caden Gooley earlier in the game from Adam Henrique, and then ended up, Gooley ended up fighting himself. So didn't really matter. He ended up fighting Henrique himself. So was it Kovacevic and actually... It was actually Sam Carrick that Kovacevic fought. So Caden Gooley fought Adam Henrique, but good for him for dropping the gloves. We saw Arbor Jacki drop the gloves again in a contest that it looked like he was just trying to not get hurt and just kind of trying to stay afloat. He did get some shots in fighting Ross Johnston at the end of the game. And at the end of this game, Ross Johnston was bleeding from the nose. Him and Jaden Struble were going at it. There's some bad blood between the Canadiens and Ducks going into next season because this is the last time they're going to play each other for this season. So there's that. Noticed Leo Carlson in this game a little bit. He got some good shots on net. And we saw Joshua Waugh. Did you guys see Waugh rip that shot right off the faceoff dot and hit the post in the second period? Because that was a good shot. I think it was actually the first period. But Joshua Waugh taking advantage of his opportunity with the Canadiens again on this recall assignment with them. You know what? I mean, like I said, you got to kind of enjoy these wins when they come, because they're going to be fewer and far between as we get closer and closer to the trade deadline. David Savard had two great sequences that led to two Montreal goals with Jake Evans, and I think it was one of Nick Suzuki's goals here. Let me just pull it back up. But, you know, hats off to David Savard, just being a great leader and a great defenseman still for these Canadiens. He doesn't have to be traded this season. That's one thing to mention. He's still got one more year on his deal after this one. But I think the priority really has to shift to Jake Allen. I think they got to get him moved. That's really the key piece, I think, for me. I know we want to get more assets before this draft, but we don't have to get all of them in this draft, because, frankly, we got a first-round pick for this draft. That's the biggest asset we could have acquired to help us make the team better this draft, right? That's the key thing here. So we don't have to move David Savard if a good enough offer doesn't come this year. Whereas next year, I think it will. But if it comes this season, great. We'll take it. I think Tanner Pearson will probably go, but Jake Allen, Tanner Pearson, and then maybe David Savard, the biggest question mark in terms of what we could fetch for him, probably a second rounder. But, you know, looking at the Canadiens calendar coming up here, let's just pull it up for the rest of the week here after beating the lowly Anaheim Ducks in this contest 5-0. You know, we got the Canadiens playing the New York Rangers on Thursday night, where, you know, they head to Madison Square Garden, and the Canadiens, frankly, played very, very well against the Rangers at home. But right after that, they go play the Washington Capitals at home. And for some reason, the schedule is flubbing on me here. But regardless, the point is, I don't think the Canadiens are going to finish better, or the best possibility is that the Canadiens will finish 28th. That's the worst possible place they'll finish in the standings. But in terms of just development, I mean, yes, right now, things are looking good. Hopefully David Reinbacher and Lane Hudson can become part of the Canadian system. I don't care if we see Reinbacher with the Canadiens this season, but it would be nice to see him come over to the Laval Rocket and help them with their playoff run. So we'll see how that all goes down. But not a whole lot more to mention in this game, because I think I mentioned all the important points. And Juraj Slafkovsky, if you want to look at an interesting statistic on Slav, let's just do that. So here from Anthony Martineau from TVA Sports, right? Am I getting that right? Anyway, regardless, so in Slafkovsky's first 70 NHL games, 18 points. In the last 22 games, 19 points. And Nick Suzuki, by the way, is the second leading scorer in the NHL right now since January the 20th. Nick Suzuki now has 51 points in 53 games, 19 goals, and almost at the 20 mark. He's actually passed Cole Caulfield for the team lead in goals. So hats off to Nick Suzuki for that. 19 goals, 32 assists for those 51 points in 53 games. Nick Suzuki becoming a point per game player. Will he surpass his 66 point total of last season? I think he certainly can. And I think he probably will, the way he's playing. He's taking pride in his game lately. So I appreciate that from Nick. Thank you guys for watching. Past the 5,000 subscribers. You guys are the best. Thank you for supporting the channel. Hit like on this video. Hit subscribe if you haven't. I appreciate the support, you guys. Go Habs, go. Kirby Dach has hit the ice. Kirby Dach is back on the ice as of this morning. I should mention that, because that's kind of important to note. So welcome back, Kirby, for now. Rehabbing that ACL, MCL tear. Cannot wait to see him back in the lineup next season. But you guys know what to do. Thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you soon. Cheers.